Hi there. Welcome to another edition of Socrates Explains Everything. Coronavirus. Extra editions. That's right, I got time to kill. Coronavirus. This is like day, I guess, 3 now, or 2. I don't know who counts. No reason to count. The number's going to get longer and longer. But took another little bike ride. Found another nice windmill. This time we're on the west side of Amsterdam. The Molen de Roo 1100. Really beautiful place. Really nice location. Location. So today we'll talk a little bit more about the coronavirus, a little update from Amsterdam, and also how this thing is impacting, well, the economy and capitalism again. All right. So today I went shopping again, and shelves are definitely being more stripped. This time more of the food things were gone. I did buy a thing of paper towel for the kitchen because I was out and there was a last one there. I felt kind of special. And I needed bread as well. You know, these things, they disappear. But for the most part, there was things, you know, to eat in the stores. It reminded me a little bit about living in the 70s when we didn't have everything every day. You know, we used to have seasonal vegetables. You know, I remember as a kid looking forward to strawberry season because it was just, you know, part of the year. And boy, were they good back then. You know, I think that the produce has been made more and more for corporations, and with genetic modifications and selective breedings, they've made things that have longer shelf lives but aren't nearly as good to eat. I don't think nearly as nutritious, because things that don't rot, well, that's what we do with our bodies. We're a fermentation chamber, and we're rotting food. So I think that the old corn was healthier and certainly was so much better tasting. But people seem to be dealing with it fairly well. The stores are definitely empty. There's most of the shops are closed, which again is going to cause economic destruction, because the truth is capitalism doesn't allow for these kind of shocks. You know, it encourages this stuff. It's, you know, they consider it, you know, a version of creative destruction. You know, that the stronger businesses will evolve or blah blah, but the truth is they'll leave a huge pile of destruction behind them, including environmental. You know, airlines that started out with, you know, working routes, now they have all these closed airplanes. And for what purpose? You know, it was very useful before. So at this point, what have we done? We've destroyed, you know, value is what we've destroyed. You know, Flybe was a valuable thing. They had airlines and pilots and routes, and it was important for England. It was an important airline. I think that this is an opportunity to reconsider the concept of what is valuable and what is value. And this is an opportunity for society to sit back and try to consider what this thing called capitalism is, what it does and what it doesn't do. Because one thing it doesn't do is plan for any sort of long term. It doesn't do things like crisis prevention or even crisis reaction. You know, I mean, if we had to pay for everything, the fire department would be a wonderful example of capitalism. You know, it's a product that you don't need until you need it. And could you just imagine having to barter or bargain with the fire department? How bad do you want us to come? 30,000, 50,000? Ah, too bad your house burned down. You know, and then everybody's out of business. So the whole concept, I think, needs a rethink and a rework. You know, there is value within capitalism. It's essentially an incentive, but I think that it's time for an improvement to the system where we can incentivize with a more valuable thing than the threat of starvation. You know, which is pretty much what capitalism does now. You know, you become homeless and die. But the truth is we're all going to eventually die, so that's a threat that only works so well for so long. You know, it certainly does not motivate somebody to give you their best. And we really need people's inventiveness, their thoughts, their creativity. You know, the human brain is an amazing thing. It's what my brain is saying right now, anyway. You know, so if we had a system that incentivized creativity and involvement and cooperation and just sharing your abilities, where now you have to somehow own it or sell it to get value from it. I think that with the computers and technology, we can move into a system where you get credit for what you add to the problems and the solutions. And I think it's time to rethink this thing called capitalism, because society is separate from capitalism. You know, at the moment, capitalism has collapsed essentially, and yet society continues. You know, and you can also see the really important members of society, because they're the ones who still have to work. Are they the most paid people? Generally not. So if you're in a job that didn't have to be done, maybe it wasn't important, you know. Unfortunately, you know, the cafes, the bars, and those things, they are kind of important, but, you know, farmers, delivery people, people who keep the world clean, you know, they're the ones that are still working and have to keep working. So I suggest finding the lowest paid person who's still being forced to work and triple their salary. You know, I mean, capitalism isn't exactly valuable, but it does exist as a thing, and that would probably be at least one really positive change. Because if they have to work, they're really important. And whoever's the lowest paid person who's having to work, they're really underappreciated. So I'm going to enjoy that view. And the sunset, hopefully it's not the last sunset. You know, I think we got more ahead of us. So be positive, be safe, take care of yourselves, and avoid touching others. If you got old people or people with immune system problems in your family, I would definitely avoid it. I hope the wind wasn't horrible. It's picking up now. Socrates out. All right,